I want to talk about Halloween. I know that was like yesterday and that, almost 2 days ago now. Um, but I was on TikTok and sorry, I seen where somebody said, "Why is Halloween dying? Why is people not trick or treating anymore? Why are they not seeing as many people out walking with their kids? Like, where's the parents? Where's, kids being able to go out and walk around on Halloween, get candy from door to door where the lights are on? But why?" So, I'm going to say my opinion on it from what I know and like what I've seen being almost 33 years old. Because surprisingly, I went trick or treating on Halloween. And in the town that I'm in, I have also noticed the same thing that this person on TikTok was saying about Halloween dying down. And I actually ran into quite a few people, surprisingly, that were passing out candy that questioned me and my opinion about Halloween. And we actually talked about why kids aren't out anymore. And like this conversation got brought up on Halloween. And so I'm going to talk about it. So, in general, if anybody has realized, since about 2019 was probably the last time right before COVID, but were you seeing a lot of people that would go trick or treating? If you actually think about it, before COVID, kids would go trick or treating. Streets were packed with kids and parents walking and the whole 9 yards, and almost every light on the house was on. And people were passing out candy. But after COVID hit, trick or treating was limited. People found trunk or treat instead. Um, a lot of people also discovered back then, around 2019 to 18, I believe it was, is when they first discovered that druggies are now putting blades in candy that are being passed out. They're finding metal. They're finding bad candy that's been passed out on Halloween. Kids were getting sick. So, hello. So, there's also that. And so people turned to trunk or treating, which was apparently supposed to be safer than getting candy from a house. Hello. And so here, if you look up the reports on like Google, there was news reports, Google, any of basically your local news channels. Some of them have done probably reports on where parents reported and sued candy companies because blades were found in candy. Drugs were found in candy on Halloween. Parents' kids were being rushed to the hospital back, a few years back because druggies were putting fentanyl in candy. There has been multiple things found in candies that were wrapped, okay? Like wrapped. Because people are discovering how to open up candy packages, put stuff in them, and reseal them. You can buy this little white thing that's like this big, right? Half the size of my hand that you can reseal candy wrappers up with just by sliding it across. And I'm sure some of you know what I'm talking about. And there was a person on TikTok that I seen who actually proved that this can happen. Well, it's happening in my state. It's happened in California. It's happened in Florida. There's been several states in the United States that have reported candy having drugs in it and blades and things like that. And there was actually a girl on TikTok who she took her kids out trick or treating and she had a GoPro or some kind of camera on her. And so she actually showed going trick or treating. And then she showed that when she got home, she took a magnet and was checking each piece of candy for metal. And she actually found a Reese's, and it wasn't AI, this was a legit person. And she scanned over a Reese's, one of the mini Reese's, and the magnet stuck to it. She opened it up in front of the camera, ripped the package open, and there was a piece of metal shoved in this package in this candy. And so, yes, in the United States, this happens every year. Parents were I remember back in 2019 when parents were actually making reports about it. They were sharing their videos and their feelings and their opinions about how their kids were getting sick, and how they didn't like taking their kids trick or treating anymore because it wasn't safe anymore. You couldn't just take your kids and enjoy it without something going wrong, whether the candy being bad to something being in the candy. And you know, uh, I've also heard that where it's supposed to be fake, but the fact that it's happened in my own town, I also have seen kids, like parents that are my age. I've actually had a couple of my friends, their kids got sick from eating candy that was given to them by a stranger. And so, going based on some experience of that, just like last night, I have a bag of candy, right? Okay. I actually opened actually, I think I still have it sitting here. I was actually going to look into it. Here it is. I actually opened this, surprisingly. Okay, it's a double crunch bar. And when I opened it and I ate it, I took a bite of this myself last night. It has a really odd flavor to it that tasted very bitter, and it didn't taste like chocolate. And so I was actually trying to find the expiration date on it, only to find that the expiration date, which is supposed to be on the candy, is gone. It's supposed to be underneath the wrapper piece, and it's not there. So I spit this out last night after it did not taste right, from my experience. And the date that's supposed to be on it is not there, which normally candy has a date. And so I also found a Reese's. I think it was a Reese's that tasted kind of funky, but I ended up eating it anyways. Today, I'm fine. I'm not sick, but I'm just saying that I think this might be expired candy, because I was also told that there are some people out there who can't afford Halloween candy every year. So what they do is they candy like from the previous year that didn't get passed out, they'll keep it and pass it out the next year. So what some people don't realize is that there's actually an expiration date on candy. It's not going to last forever, and it can go bad. And so I also know this because I used to be a stepmother. I used to date a man who had two kids who had a bunch of Halloween candy like this. And the candy had been up on a shelf for like, I think they said for like 2 years, hidden back. He had hid the candy up there, the father did, and he had forgotten about it. And so I got the candy down and started checking dates. The ones that were still good and not expired, the kids got to eat, but the ones that were expired, they had to throw away. But surprisingly, the two kids that I was a stepmom of, they ended up eating some of that expired candy, and we had to take one of the children to the hospital because they got sick. So it is possible for a child to get sick on expired candy. It is possible for there to be drugs and things inside candy that parents can get. There are parents out there who can vouch for this. I know that there's people out there that don't believe it, but where I'm from, it's actually happened. And unless the candy has an expiration date on it, I don't plan to eat it. I wouldn't recommend giving your kids any candy unless you can see that the date's good on it and you know that the candy is safe and well within the range of the date. But the whole point of this is parents, when I actually went trick-or-treating, and I had a bunch of parents ask me that were passing out candy. They're like, I can tell that you're not a kid. I said, no, I'm not. I'm 30. I'm about to be 33. I'm not a kid, but I'm out here trick-or-treating because I feel like it and because I want to just get outside and walk. And I had multiple parents go, I wish every child would do that and every person would do that on Halloween. I wish they would get out and they would go trick-or-treating parents would walk with their kids, but they're not. You find parents driving their kids around in cars now instead of walking. I understand it can be hard on the parents, but at the same time, you're missing out by driving. That's called being a little bit lazy, because I'm a millennial, and I remember trick-or-treating, and we didn't use cars. We didn't use any cars. We walked all over town. We parked our car, we got out, and we walked. Yeah, blades and acid. Well, now it's metal, fentanyl, expired candy, and just all around just a lot of weird shit that you'll find in some candy wrappers. It doesn't happen everywhere. There are some places where it doesn't happen, but it does happen. And these parents, they said, oh, I wish I could get my kid off Fortnite. Can't get him out the door. In my opinion, if you're a parent that's telling a stranger that you can't get your kid out the door on Halloween, I was raised, then take the damn controller from the kid, turn the TV off, and tell them they're going. Don't let your child have control. But I'm just saying that's my opinion. That's what I would do as a parent. I would take the controller and I would make the child get up and go. Then don't forget, you also have the religious people that are now going around, and they're literally like telling kids it's a sin to trick or treat. It's the devil's birthday when you go trick-or-treating on Halloween. It's the devil's day. Halloween is nothing but about the devil and Satan and demons. And so you have all these religious people who are telling these kids nowadays that it's wrong to trick-or-treat. Okay, it's wrong. I have a 14-year-old brother. Okay, a couple years back, we ran into a Christian on the streets, okay, while trick-or-treating one year. And she was like telling everybody that was walking by her that it's a sin to be trick-or-treating, and you need to repent, and you need to go ask for forgiveness. You shouldn't be trick-or-treating on Halloween. She said this. She was saying this to every kid that passed by her. And it was like to the point that it was like, what the fuck? Okay, why would you tell children younger than you? I mean, she was an adult like me. But she was just ranting that Halloween was Devil's Day and that it was bad and kids were going to be sinners if they trick-or-treated. So you have that problem. Not to mention you have the candy that's bad or has metal in it or has drugs in it. People are repacking candy and giving it out or selling it on Halloween and getting people sick. I mean, there's so many reasons. Not to mention trunk or treat, which comes around since COVID, and since trunk or treat has also come around, parents have gotten even more lazier. And here, we're just going to go take our kids and walk around this big circle of cars instead of go walk around and see all the Halloween lights on the houses and see all the decorations that people bought and have a blast getting scared by decorations that pop up. You're taking your kids around the mall and going and showing them all this new stuff and having them do trunk or treat instead of experiencing the cool shit. Sorry, but walking up to a trunk full of candy is not really that fun. I actually took my brother trunk or treating one year, and he said it was awful. He actually told me at 12 years old that he would rather go dress up, go walk around the streets and see all the cool houses decorated than stand at a trunk and ask for candy. And he was 12 when he said that. And I agreed with him because it wasn't that fun. It just wasn't. I mean, we have churches in the town that I'm in that was actually had blow-ups and had dinners that they were giving, they were cooking, and people didn't show up. They didn't show up. The churches wasted their funds to host these events for Halloween, only for people not to show up because where were they? Trunk or treating instead. They're trying to save people from they think will send them out. Yeah, and I was raised up as a Methodist, which is Christian, okay? But here's the thing about the church that I went to. I was raised up as a Methodist, and my church accepts Halloween. They support it. Do you want to know what my church does on Halloween? They literally have about 200 people that show up every year. They do a hayride with people dressed up in scary costumes, chasing and scaring them, and it's on a trail ride. They do hot dogs, they do s'mores, they pass out candy, they do Halloween costume, contest, the whole 9 yards. And everybody at my church sits at these tables and they talk and they pass out candy and they support Halloween. But you get these Christians that are from like the First Baptist Church or, these Baptist churches, and they turn around and they go, "You're a sinner for trick or treating," and all of this other stuff. I think I like my church better. I think the Methodists are better because they support Halloween and they don't belittle you and berate you for taking your kids to go trick or treating or for you going trick or treating. I've had a Christian come up to me over the last few years, just once, and told me that I was too old to trick or treat. You know what I said? No, I'm not. There's no law that states that you have to be too old to trick or treat. I'm about to be 33. My friend's about to be 25. My other friend's about to be 33. And we all three went trick or treating yesterday and got bags full of candy. There was an elderly lady, our elderly lady. We walked up to her door, right? And she says, "I'm so glad to see kids are out." And I said, "Well, I'm not really a kid, but and she says, "Oh, I know, but it's glad to see people out. It's glad to see adults getting out and enjoying their time and walking and doing all." I walked till I got blisters on my feet, okay? I have blisters right now on my feet from the shoes. We had walked for 2 hours straight without stopping, getting candy at all these houses. We started at like 5:30, started walking. Okay? And I told both my friends that I was with, I said, "We are not going down to the church to do trunk or treating. I want to walk around to all these houses. I want to be like the original Halloween where you go, you walk up to people's houses, you see all the decorations, and where it's fucking cool." Excuse my language, but it's fucking cool. It can, and I'm not trying to like say anything bad about you Christians. I know I have Christians that follow me. I'm not trying to like ditch on y'all's religion. But I'm just saying that there are some Christians out there that give Christians who are true to like the holidays, they give the good Christians a bad rap and a bad name by attacking people and saying those things to people. It is true. There are Christians out there who do that. And I call them bad Christians. But there are good Christians out there. Hello, Kitty. And so I think that the reason Halloween is going downhill now, like in 2025, is because of the trunk or treating. The trunk or treating has taken over Halloween. Parents are going, "Oh, this is much easier. It's much cheaper. We don't have to waste gas. We can drive, park, get out, walk around in a big circle for about 30 minutes and go home." Instead of walking around for 2 hours, they're walking around for less time. And then you have, like I said, the Christians that are belittling people and attacking people and all that stuff. You forgot the R in trunk. I'm not sure what that says, but you have like a lot of random letters there. You're good. I was just saying you forgot the R. But those would be two reasons. Would be religion being one of the issues. Yeah, it is the real world. The real world is troubling nowadays. Where we're at in the United States, the economy is troubling, the world's troubling. Another reason why you might see people not doing Halloween anymore is because the prices. To buy a bag of candy just big enough to fill a small bucket to pass out is almost $10. You're talking about buying back then candy No, I'm not making fun of religious people. I said I'm not making fun of religious people. Candy's expensive. Okay? It's not cheap anymore. So people can't afford it. That's another problem. Unless you're rich and you're like making a lot of money. Unless you're making a lot of, sorry, I was reading that comment. Unless you're making a lot of money to buy candy to support a bunch of trick-or-treaters, it's not going to be easy. Like, I went to go look for a bag of candy because at first I was going to pass out candy at my door. But when I realized the prices, it wasn't very fucking helpful. Just like it isn't for a lot of people right now. Some states, candy's cheap. I know that there are some states out there that have cheap candy because of their prices and how good of money they got held up for their state and everything else. But with the state that I'm in, we're not doing too fucking good. Okay, economy's going down, gas is going up, food prices are going up, prices in general with candy, milk, water, sodas, the whole 9 yards, it's all going up. So everything's twice as expensive, which makes it harder and harder and harder. It is a cool holiday. But we were talking earlier about how there's some Christians out there who attack people who trick or treat and tell us that it's a sin to trick or treat. They tell us that it's the devil's day and that we're sinners for trick or treating. That's what we were trying to say earlier. No one was making fun of Christians or anything. We were talking about how there are some Christians out there who are bad because they abuse the Christian title and it's bad. They make Christians look bad. But in general, that would be my opinion on why Halloween is not continuing to, continuing like it used to. The prices, that's one. Okay, the religion, two. Sorry, my brain just went dead. I was looking at that number. That would be two. Three, the bad stuff that people are finding in candy. That would keep parents from wanting to take their kids trick-or-treating. They would rather go buy their own candy or make their own candy, too. There's parents that have done that. They make their own candy sometimes. I've seen parents do it. And they literally will hide the candy around their property or around the house and make their kids go find it. Kind of like a Easter egg hunt, but for candy on Halloween. I've seen parents do a lot of cool things on Halloween to get their kids interested instead of taking them trick-or-treating. The trunk-or-treating, that's four. That's four reasons why people are not really trick-or-treating much is because they're too busy doing that. I can't really think of any others but them four reasons. And, like, it's... How do you say it? Halloween is not, in my opinion, the devil's day. It is not anything related to Satan. My own mother, even told me that, oh, yeah, Halloween's not what it used to be. It's not fun anymore because, the kids are too busy on their video games, or parents are too lazy to go walk with the kids, or trunk-or-treating's taken over, or the prices are too high. I mean, my mom even fucking said that crap. Oh, yeah, video games. Yeah, because kids are too busy on their video games and won't get off. That's another problem. It's just sad. It's sad to see back in the early 2000s when I was younger, every house would have their porch light on for trick-or-treating for you to walk up to. Nowadays, when you go walking, it's about one every other house, one every other block. For being preachy, try to take with a grain of salt because they do mean well. Yeah. I don't think this one lady, though, meant well when she was preaching that Halloween was the devil's day because she was, like, angry about it. She was, like, telling kids to put the candy, like, there was some other things said that I really don't want to say on here because I don't want to get banned on YouTube. But she was saying some mean things, okay? It wasn't just polite things. She was actually, like, upsetting people. with things that she was saying about the Halloween. And me being an elect pagan, which means I study my side of the Christianity, which is Methodist, but I also believe in the Norse pagan ways. And so Halloween is not just about trick or treating. It's also about the Day of the Dead and spirits walking our planet and our earth and the whole 9 yards of that. There are some Christians who don't celebrate, but that's not what Halloween, I don't think Christianity should be thrown out there to stop people from trick-or-treating or going on Halloween. That's just what that lady was trying to do, I think. But after that, I surprisingly have never seen that lady again. I don't know if she moved away or if she was just passing through our town. I don't know. Because the town that I live in, everybody knows everybody. Like, literally everybody knows her. It's that small. And so we're talking the cops know everybody, the school know everybody, the neighbors know everybody, City Hall knows everybody. Like, there's not one person in this town that can't tell you who somebody is. And it is sad that some kids say that they are afraid to trick or treat because of what they've seen on the news, which is why I am glad my mother, in a way, didn't expose me to the news as a kid, because surprisingly, I don't even have news. I have TVs, but I don't have news. Any news updates that I get are from TikTok or YouTube, or my mom calls me and tells me. I surprisingly don't watch the news. I try to avoid it. But getting on Facebook, and I do follow a news group, which is like, I think it's Fox News, which is where I'm at, Fox. And then 5 News is another one. Them two make a lot of announcements on Facebook, and I get my updates from their channels. Well, hello there from Texas. I'm in Arkansas. We are next to each other. Our states are. And so I watch the news, just little short clips and stuff that I get across my Facebook page and stuff about this. And that's how I knew about the candy situation where I'm at, when parents were suing candy companies and people were, kids were getting sick from the candy because it was drugged and other things. So that is how I knew that it was happening in my area, because our news station did a whole report on the issue, because parents had called the police and there was a bunch of stuff going on. And so it happened. I don't know if it's happened in other states except a few. I do know California had a problem with it. I know Florida had some of the bigger cities. They had issues with candy with drugs and objects being found and kids getting hurt. But all around and all together, I don't watch news, and I think that's another problem. Kids should not be exposed to news, because some of the stuff on the news is fake and then some of it's not. And when those kids are being exposed to that, it can cause that fear in them. And so them seeing on the news or on TikTok or on Facebook or wherever these kids are watching, and they are seeing that kids are getting hurt by getting candy from trick-or-treating, that puts a fear in a child. Mentally, that kid's not at their age, whatever. If let's say, estimate 13 and under. If anyone 13 and under is watching the news and they see that another child got hurt from eating candy on Halloween, their kid's going to go, well, I don't want to do that. It's just a mental thing for a child. And so I'm glad my mom didn't expose me to the news as a kid. I'm glad I don't have the news the whole 9 yards, because I have loved trick-or-treating my whole life. I have never had any bad candy, but I think this one that I had showed y'all earlier is bad, because you can tell that the chocolate did not taste like chocolate. When I bit into it, it was bitter. It left a very, very bad aftertaste in my mouth, and chocolate's not supposed to do that. And that's why I said I think the candy, this one piece that I got so far, is bad. And it was a crunch bar. Like I said, I took a bite and then I spit it out. But that's my opinion on Halloween. That is why I think Halloween is going downhill and dying. Why people are not doing it anymore. Was like the 4 or 5 things that I named off earlier. And everyone can have their own opinion. No one's going to be judged on my YouTube channel to give your opinion in the chats. I'm not going to be mad. That's what I'm starting this whole podcast thing for, to talk about, things like this. And we can all, freedom of speech. Just like I said, the only rules, no attacking, by the way. We're not attacking people. We're just debating. No bullying and no threats. None of that. Okay, so if you want to give your freedom of opinion on my podcast, you are able to, but follow the 3 simple rules, please. But I'm, like I said, that's my opinion on Halloween. And I know there's been a lot of parents out there who are just all against Halloween, and they refuse to celebrate Halloween, and they don't expose their kids to candy, and they don't do that. I've met a couple families like that, where their kids are not allowed to drink soda or eat candy at all. Like, they keep their kids from it. I've seen some parents where they're like all for Halloween, and then there's those Christians out there who are against Halloween, and then there are those Christians that are cool with Halloween. You've got Catholics that are cool with Halloween, and you've got Catholics that are not. The Methodist church that I go to, they're cool with Halloween. They celebrate it. So I really guess it just depends on the state that you're living in, the town you're living in, the people that are in your town. I guess it just really depends in general. The location as well for Halloween. To be honest, my religion studies Halloween probably different than you. But I was raised that Halloween is supposed to be celebrating the dead. It celebrates their spirits moving on across the bridge, which is supposed to be part of Day of the Dead. And so it's also not just about the spirit realm and the spirit world and the spirits passing on, but at the same time, it's also supposed to be about trick-or-treating and getting candy. That is what I was raised on. My mom used to tell me that Halloween was when spirits would pass over and move on. My dad used to, I know this part's a myth, but my dad used to tell me when I was a kid, he was like, you see all the stars in the sky? He says on Halloween, when the spirits pass over, new stars appear. Those are the souls freeing themselves and going up to heaven. That is what my dad used to tell me. Now, I know that that's not exactly true about the whole star thing, but he was just trying to make it cute, I guess, because I was a kid. But, Yeah, some parents are also like that. That I actually earlier in my video when I first started said something along that lines where some parents don't really do trick or treating, some do. Some are against it, some just don't like it. And some parents will just take their kids and they'll make their own candy, or give them candy of their own instead of buying candy, since sometimes it's not safe buying candy from the store. I mean, all around in general, I don't think anything from our stores in the United States is safe anymore. The fact that they found radiated shrimp at Walmart, I mean, that's another example. That's a whole nother podcast. That's a whole nother video to be done about the radiated shrimp at Walmart. So it's just, like I said, it depends on the person. It depends on where you're at. Depends on what's going on. Depends on your religion. Depends on your beliefs. Halloween goes based on everybody's, I guess, how everybody is in general themselves. Because there's a few years in a row where I didn't go trick-or-treating. And then this year, I wanted to go trick-or-treating. And I'm 33. About to be 33. But I do think it was wrong that one lady was telling everybody that, oh, you're too old to trick or treat. No, I'm not. I'm not too old for nothing. I don't even look 33, but I am 33 in 3 months. But yes. It does. It depends on the religion. It depends on what you believe in for Halloween. That's why I said it also depends on your location, like the town you're in. Some towns celebrate Halloween much different than others. Um, it depends on the situation altogether. But when I got asked, and I seen the video on TikTok, why Halloween is dying down, I was making this video just to give the like 4 or 5 reasons of why. I think Halloween is dying down in general, and plus you also got to think technology. Technology has taken over so much that it is hard to get kids out. It is hard to get kids off the screens. It is hard because there's people that can simply just order Halloween candy online, have it shipped to their door within like 24 hours or a few hours or a day, and then enjoy candy at home instead of going out and getting it from other people. There's that too. That's another freaking reason, because of all this online crap that people are ordering from. It's taking this whole online ordering thing is like actually taking a toll. It's taking away from things that are going on for kids to go trick-or-treating and kids to get candy. Parents are sometimes getting, they're just like, oh yeah, we'll just order candy instead of go get candy, because apparently this whole online thing as well, ordering things online is apparently easier, which it is. It can be easier. No, I got money to buy food, so I'm good. And surprisingly, that's not the whole point of this. The point of this is just to debate with people about things going on in the real world. And Halloween dying down is one of those. But no. And just in case anybody wants to know about the whole food stamps thing, I do not watch CNN. I don't have news on my TV. I don't have a news channel to watch. I get all my stuff from, like I said, Facebook, TikTok, or videos that my mom sends me that she gets from the news. So anything that I post on my YouTube channel, news related, is probably from my mom or things that I've seen that's crossed my FYP. But in general, I think Halloween is eventually, in my opinion, I do think Halloween is eventually going to stop. I think people are going to get too much into the online ordering, and I think eventually Halloween is going to move to just trunk or treating and ordering online. And I mean, you're seeing less and think about it. You're seeing less and less houses that's turning on their porch lights, right? Because when I was walking around, like I said, with my 2 friends, we noticed that there was less houses. Like, there was not that many houses that had their lights on that you could walk up to and trick or treat. Yeah, that's another reason. It is about getting out with the costumes. That's what I said. It is hard. That's what I'm saying. I would rather walk around and I would rather see the cool decorations and be dressed up. I dressed up as Hermione yesterday for Halloween. That's what I did. I was Hermione. I had the whole Harry Potter outfit and everything. My friend went as a rogue and my other friend went as a Therian. So, like, I mean, we're adults, but we still went. And I think kids should get out more. I think kids should get out and go walk around and see the cool decorations and go with their parents and enjoy the cool weather and the cool costumes and scare each other and it just be all around fun and cool. Instead, though, people aren't doing that really anymore. That's the whole point of the thing is things are just going downhill for Halloween. And there have been people out there who are expressing this. I'm not the first one. I'm probably one of a million. But there's been a lot of people out there that have expressed that Halloween is going downhill. They're seeing less houses, prices going up for one. The video games are taking over, the online ordering, gas, parents getting to where they don't want to walk anymore. They'd rather take their kids and drive, which is not much fun. There's just a lot of things that are the reason why Halloween's going downhill. Did you ever ask her? child, like the reason why they didn't want to go? Because I had my little brother. I'm his sister, but I'm his godmother. And one year he didn't want to go either, and we asked why. And surprisingly, the answer was not what we were expecting. So I remember my 12-year-old brother one year said, "I don't want to go trick or treating." And we looked at him and we're like, "Why not?" And his answer was, "Well, there was this kid at school that said trick or treating's a sin because it's related to the devil." And we were like, "No, it is not. It is not." Like, the fact that my 12-year-old brother was afraid to go trick-or-treating one year, but we ended up convincing him that it was okay. We did. We sat down with him. We took about 30 minutes. We discussed it. We, showed him some history on Halloween. We got him convinced that he wanted to go. But it doesn't hurt to always, if your kid does say they don't want to go, you might want to ask, because you never know what could be said to them to convince them to not go. Something could have been said. They could have seen or heard something that made them not want to go, or it could have just been in general, they just didn't feel like it. I mean, as kids get older, though, they do, they mature. And I noticed this about my brother, too. He's gotten older, and there's been a lot of things that he doesn't want to do either, because I think the attitude of him, puberty and all of that's kicking in, and he doesn't want to go because he does think now, I mean, he was 12 like 3 years ago. He's now 14. But he's turned 14, and he shows the attitude of I don't care, about Halloween. But he'll ask for candy, and he'll want to decorate and do everything, but doesn't want to go. And I remember my dad realizing that my brother, instead of trick-or-treating, he wanted to stay home and stay on his phone, scrolling through TikTok or on YouTube or on Facebook or on his video game, right? I remember when my dad took his phone, took his TV, took his controller, took all of his electronics and said, "We're going trick-or-treating." Not this year, but about a year ago or so. And I remember when he did that, he was like, "We're not going to sit here at home on the best holiday of the fucking year and be on our phones the whole time when we could be enjoying ourselves." And my dad, he tried really hard to get my brother to get up, and he got him up after a bit of an argument, but my dad was trying to show my brother that, Halloween is a good thing. It's a fun holiday. It's cool. It doesn't have to be about sitting at home and being on your game and your phone the whole fucking time either. And when my brother was like, "Are we going to drive?" My dad's like, "What the fuck you talking about? We are not taking a vehicle either. We are walking." And he made us walk. We walked all over town to get candy. My brother didn't like that at first. But once he started getting candy and he started seeing all the cool decorations, he wanted to go. I don't know if it's just one of those things with kids, as the older they get, they don't want to do things like they used to. Kind of like me. I'm 33, for example. This is just an example. I'm 33, and there are things that I used to do when I was younger, in my early 20s, that I don't want to do now. So it could be that that's the older your kids get, they just don't want to do it anymore. Could be one of those likes and dislike things. Like, the older I've got, there's foods that I don't like anymore. Same situation, I guess it's similar. Not same. Similar situation. Trick-or-treating. But I still think if you're going to sit at home with your kids on Halloween like that, in my opinion, it wouldn't hurt to try to pass out some kind of candy, or at least sit out on the porch and watch trick-or-treaters go by for a few minutes, or, do something else besides sitting inside. At least that's my opinion. I don't know. There's just so much for Halloween. So many reasons why Halloween's dying. So many reasons why kids don't want to do it anymore. Anywhere from prices to safety issue to candy being expired to gas to laziness to games to phones to there's just so much shit. But that's okay. I think I'm still going to go trick-or-treating. I refuse to trunk or treat. I just refuse. I don't think trunk-or-treating is right. Trunk-or-treating takes away from true Halloween. Trunk-or-treating, to me, is the lazy version of Halloween. If you're walking around trunks getting candy, that's being lazy. Sorry, but it is. But, everyone's each opinion to your own. I'm not calling other people lazy. I'm just saying I think that that's considered being lazy when people don't want to go walk around the houses. But, that's that. I do thank everybody for watching and for all the honest opinions. I promise. No judgment here. You can say what you want in the comments. It's all about debating, not against anybody. And yeah, they do. They do it in parking lots. But happy late Halloween to those of you who do celebrate Halloween. And thank you for watching. And I'll definitely find something else to debate about later. I'm sure I will. I always find something to debate about. I don't know. We might debate about... I don't know what my next debate on my podcast might be. You guys can always comment on videos with ideas on debates. Always. I'll always figure it out. That's okay. Thank you for watching, and I hope everyone has a lovely weekend.